Hello students, in my last videos we are studying unit structural organization in organisms. In that we are studying the chapter that is anatomy of flowering plants. In my last video we have studied about the tissue system. We saw that the tissue system is going to be divided into the epidermal tissue system, then the ground tissue system and the vascular bundles. We saw in the epidermal tissue system, we saw what is going to be your stomata, we saw epidermis, and we also saw the epidermal appendages, that is the trichomes and the root hairs. Together with that, we then went to the next, that is going to be your ground tissue. And finally, we studied the vascular bundles, that is xylem and phloem together are forming the vascular bundles. We saw the different types of vascular bundles like open vascular bundle, closed vascular bundles, then radial and conjoined type of vascular bundles. Today, taking the knowledge of your last all the videos, today we are going to be studying about the anatomy of the dicot and monocot plants. We will study about the transverse sections of the plants, that is the root, stem and leaves. Here, first one, let us study the dicot root or the dicotyledon root. So the TS of the dicot root or the transverse section of the dicot root shows the following organization. They are epidermis, cortex, endodermis and stele. Stele is going to be nothing but where the vascular bundles are present. So let us start with the root. So the epidermis is going to be the outermost layer. Many epiblema cells protrude as unicellular root hairs. Cortex is nothing but your ground tissue. It consists of several layers of thin-walled parenchyma cells with intercellular spaces. Endodermis, this innermost layer. So it is going to be the innermost layer of the cortex. It comprises of single layer of barrel-shaped cells without intercellular spaces. So cortex is different from the endodermis because cortex has intercellular spaces. One cell is going to be having some difference or it is going to be having some space in middle. But in the endodermis, that space is not present. Also we can see that the tangential and radial walls of the endodermal cells have the deposition of some kind of material known as the subrine. So this subrine is going to be water impermeable waxy material in the form of Casparian strips. Stele is going to be the innermost layer. All tissues on the inner side of the endodermis together constitute the stele. So this part is going to be your stele. Stele consists of pericycle, pith, conjunctive tissue and vascular bundles. Pericycle. A few layers of thick-walled parenchymatous cells next to endodermis are called as the pericycle. Initiation of lateral roots and vascular cambium during secondary growth takes place in these cells. The pith is going to be the innermost region. It is a small or inconspicuous, it is very small conjunctive tissue. The parenchymatous cells which lie between the xylem and phloem are called as conjunctive tissues. And vascular bundles are going to be present 2 to 4 and phloem patches. Xylem and phloem are going to be present 2 to 4 are present. And later a cambial ring develops between the xylem and phloem. So you can observe that these are going to be the radial type of vascular bundles present 2 to 4 in number. This is going to be about the dicot root. Coming to the monocot root, all the other things are similar to that of the dicot root. It is having the epidermis, cortex, endodermis, pericycle, vascular bundle and pith, all are similar to the dicot root. But here only the difference is coming to the vascular bundle. Here, unlike the dicot root, monocot root are going to be having usually more than 6 xylem and phloem bundles, hence called as polyarch. They are having 2 to 4, usually 4, so they are known as tetrarch. The dicotyledons are known as tetrarch. They are having only 4 vascular bundles. But here they are having more than 6 vascular bundles, so they are known as polyarch. Pith is going to be large and well developed, and no secondary growth is seen in the monocotyledon root. Rest all is going to be same like that of the dicot root. Now coming to the next one, that is the dicotyledon stem. The cross section of the dicot stem looks something like this. Cross section is by taking a section of that. You will be performing this practical when the college will start. The section TS of a dicot stem and a monocot stem. So while observing in the microscope, you can observe this type of a structure. This is an enlarged form of the dicot stem TS. You can observe over here it is consisting of the epidermis, which is the outermost protective layer covered with a thin layer of cuticle. The cuticle was absent in the case of root. It may bear trichomes and a few stomata. The cortex. Cortex has multiple layers of cells arranged in between epidermis and pericycle. So the cortex here can be divided into 3 regions, that is the hypodermis, cortical layers and endodermis. So the hypodermis, cortical layers and the endodermis you can observe here in the diagram. The hypodermis. Hypodermis is going to be the outermost zone just below the epidermis. So here you can see this is the epidermis. Below that is present the hypodermis. So it consists of a few layers of the collenchyma cells. And these collenchyma cells are providing the mechanical strength to the young tissue. Then comes the cortical layers. Cortical layers are present below hypodermis. They consist of rounded, thin-walled parenchyma cells with conspicuous intercellular spaces. Then comes the endodermis. It is the innermost layer. Here the cells are rich in starch grains, so it is also known as the starch sheet. Coming to the stem, stele, here we can see it consists of pericycle, vascular bundle, medullary rays and pith. So first one, the pericycle. Pericycle, it is present on the inner side of the endodermis and above the phloem in the form of semilunar patches of sclerenchyma. Medullary rays, few layers of radially placed parenchyma cells between vascular bundles. And vascular bundles are large in number, that is more in number, and they are going to be having a ring arrangement. Remember this, they are going to be arranged into a ring manner, that is at the surrounding vascular bundles are going to be arranged, and this is going to be a characteristic feature only of the dicot stem. Each vascular bundle is going to be of conjoined type and open type because it is having the cambium cells in between. Protoxylem is going to be of the end arch type, means the protoxylem is towards the pith, whereas the metaxylem, the later formed elements, are towards the periphery. Then pith. Pith is the central portion. This portion is known as the pith. It has many rounded parenchymatous cells with large cellular spaces. Now coming to the next one, that is going to be your monocot stem. Monocot stem is going to be different from the dicot stem. Let us see how. It has a sclerenchymatous hypodermis, that is going to be outermost after the epidermis. Within it is having a hypodermis and having many scattered vascular bundles. So you can observe over here it is present on a ring, but here the vascular bundles are scattered all over. And each of the vascular bundles are surrounded by the sclerenchymatous bundle sheet and large conspicuous parenchymatous ground tissue. The vascular bundles are going to be of the conjoint and closed type of vascular bundles. Peripheral vascular bundles are smaller than centrally located ones. That is, those are going to be present at the corner, periphery, at the edges are going to be smaller vascular bundles, and as they are in the middle, the larger vascular bundles are present. The phloem parenchyma is absent and water containing cavities are present within the vascular bundles. Coming to the last one, that is going to be the dicotyledonous leaf. The leaf, when we are talking, as we already studied, the leaf is going to be consisting of the chloroplast, and hence it is showing three main parts: epidermis, mesophyll and vascular tissue. Because of the presence of the chloroplast, the ground tissue is going to be called as the mesophyll tissue. Let us study the dicot leaf in detail. Epidermis, it covers both the upper surface and lower surface of the leaf. So both at the upper side and the lower side we are having the epidermis tissue. It has a conspicuous cuticle. We have studied cuticle. It is a waxy layer over the leaf surface, avoiding the loss of water. Then we can see that the axial epidermis generally bears stomata. So usually on the lower surface of the leaf, they are consisting of the stomata which are helping in the transpiration. So in this below side epidermis, stomata are fewer, or on the top surface the stomata are fewer or absent, but on the lower surface of the leaf the stomata are present. Mesophyll, the tissue between the upper and the lower epidermis, is going to be called as the mesophyll. All these cells are the mesophyll cells. It is made up of the parenchyma and they contain the chloroplast which are helping in photosynthesis. These mesophyll leaves are of two types, as you can already observe in the diagram: palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. These barrel-shaped structures arranged close to each other are the palisade parenchyma or palisade mesophyll, whereas these with larger space are known as spongy mesophyll or the spongy parenchyma. So here we can see that the palisade is going to be made up of elongated cells, larger, that is arranged vertically and parallel to each other, whereas spongy parenchyma are oval or round and loosely arranged. It is situated below the palisade cells and extends to the lower epidermis. There are numerous large spaces and air cavities between these cells, that is the spongy parenchyma. So the mesophyll can be divided into palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. Coming to the vascular system, it consists of the vascular bundles. These vascular bundles can be seen in the veins and the midribs. The size of the vascular bundle is dependent on the size of the veins. The veins vary in thickness in reticulate venation of the dicot leaves. Vascular bundles are surrounded by a layer of thick-walled bundle sheet cells. Coming to the monocotyledon leaf, the anatomy of monocot leaf is like that of the dicot leaf in many ways. It is showing stomata and mesophyll. Here the stomata, the difference is, here the stomata are present on both the surfaces of epidermis, whereas in the dicot we can see that they are present only on the lower surface, but here on both the surfaces equally the stomata are present. And here we can see that the mesophyll is not differentiated into the palisade and the spongy parenchyma. All are going to be same type of the parenchyma. So in grasses, special example, if we are taking the grass example, there are going to be certain adzaxial epidermal cells along the veins which are modified into large empty colorless cells. These are called bulliform cells. Example, important from exam point of view for 1 mark, what are bulliform cells? When they absorb, so what is the function of this bulliform cells? They are present in grass. So when they have absorbed the water and when they are turgid, the leaf is exposed, the leaf stands straight and erect. When they are flaccid, when they lose water due to water stress, they make the leaves curl inside, means their leaves tend to shrink inside or curve inside to minimize the loss of water. So that are going to be the bulliform cells mainly seen in the epidermal cells of grasses, leaves of the grasses. Coming to the venation, it is having parallel venation, is reflected in nearly same size of the vascular bundles except in the main veins. In the main veins, the larger vascular bundle are there, but apart from that, because of the parallel venation, the size of the vascular bundles will be almost same. So this is going to be all about the anatomy of dicot and monocot, stem, root and leaves. Practice the diagrams. The diagrams are going to be very important from the exam point of view. And the differences you understand between the monocot root, dicot root, monocot leaf, dicot leaf and monocot stem and dicot stem. What are the major differences? You have to note it down. So practice the diagrams and 1 mark questions from this part. So this is going to be all about the anatomy of flowering plants. This is actually continued with the secondary growth, but in your reduced syllabus, that is 70% that they have cut down, from that the secondary growth you don't need to study, it is been cut out. In my next video, I will be sending you the complete summary of this anatomy of flowering plants in an animated format. You can watch that for better understanding. Please complete the notes of the anatomy of flowering plants. I won't be sending it repeat and repeat. So as soon as we send it, please write down those notes then and there. Keep your notes up to date. So this is going to be all about the anatomy of flowering plants. Here we end with the lesson, that is anatomy of flowering plants from the structural organization in organisms. In my next video, we will be starting with a complete new unit and a complete new chapter.